Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 168 of the Mighty Whites podcast, where, as the normal non-Simpsons title says, 4 points from 2 games, and we're a bit pissed off. Leeds that. But the Simpsons won. It's just Kyle Walker-Peters. It's still good. It's still good.
He's gone. I know.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. If England were playing Leeds in a World Cup final, Kyle Walker-Peters would be first name on team sheet. Loves playing us.
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant against us. Right. How are you doing, Casey?
Yeah, pretty good. How about you?
Exhausted, but other than that, good. The combination of toddler and the heat.
Clearly, Jesse Marsh should have substituted you 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah, he definitely should. We'll get onto that when we get to the second half.
No, the pitchforks are out now.
I must admit,
Yankee.
I didn't go like mental on our Twitter or anything, but I did immediately go to, oh come on, like you've got now. Look, he's doing a good job. But it was an egregious error.
I think I described the substitutions as Neil Warnock-esque. He was a step away from looking at the crowd going, guys, I've got this. It's for... Oh, crap, they've equalised. Quick, lads. Come on, quick.
Yeah.
Brownie, come on.
It wasn't great. Fuck it. We may as well just talk about it now because we started. The reason that the lack of subs pissed me off so much, one, when the entirety of Twitter is saying we need to make a sub here, we're really under the cosh, we're really struggling to get out. If everyone else can see it, you can see it. But the thing that annoyed me more was I actually watched the press conference live for once. Just because I think I was working and I was just sat at my desk and not that busy, so I just put it open in a tab. And he gave a very nice, detailed answer about what it's like playing pressing football in this kind of heat and how he's got experience of that from the MLS. And you can do it, but it does tire the players out. And this is one of the games where having 5 subs could be a real advantage. Well, fucking make them then!
Yeah. My best bet is that he got scared with the Bamford injury and then forgot he could still make 2 extra subs on top of that.
Yeah, it was an odd one.
Yeah, the fact that, like you say, one, he brought it up himself in the press conference, and 2, it was... I don't know if there is records of this, but it's believed to be the hottest day in Premier League history.
That may or may not be correct. I don't know, but it will be one of them.
I stole that from the commentators who described it in such a way.
Oh, so... I believe my commentators were speaking Arabic.
Oh no, mine were English. Mine were fine. Well, one of them was from like Cornwall or somewhere,
But they were obviously going into a lot of detail about Leeds because it was loads of words I don't understand. Simon Grayson. So I'm willing to bet that the commentator was actually pretty good at his job. But I have no way of proving that. So yeah, Leeds 2, Southampton 2. We can sort of get through the first half fairly quick because it was 0-0 at half-time. And the main story was Bamford going off injured and Gellart not being on the bench due to injury. Can we even pretend that either of those things are surprising?
No. I can't say they're not concerning either.
No, this is why everyone and their dog agrees that we need to sign a striker. Even if it's not a glamorous one, even if it's Ache Adams or someone like that, you need another body.
Yeah, it's tough to look at a front 2 of Dan James and Rodrigo and be happy about it. Like, I know Dan James works very hard and he can press quite well, but he's also, as we've kind of found out, not the person you want to be playing through on goal.
No, I mean, to be honest, I will say, because there was 2 major chances in the first half. One of them was Dan James. Good through ball from, if I remember rightly, it was Harrison. James in down like the left channel. really good strike, left-footed across the keeper, and Bazunu makes a really good save. Like, Dan James did nothing wrong in this game. I was perfectly happy with his performance. He just isn't a striker. It's, I suppose, like, if it was the full-on, really 4-2-2, not 4-2-3, like, really high press, where it's basically 4-2-4, in that situation, I can sort of see it. Because it's just pressing and running in behind. So for that, yeah, it's probably fine. But the rest of the time, you want an actual striker there. But it was a good save. The other big chance, and this was the much bigger one. I can't remember who took the corner, but it was.
I believe it was an in-swinger. So
so it's probably Harrison. Yeah, so it'll have probably been Harrison. Rodrigo runs to the near post, really good flick on. And I'm going to be nice and say James gets in Christensen's way. But I think he just made a bollocks of the header, to be honest.
It wasn't. I think when I wrote the recap, I think it was, again, possibly being generous, thinking that Dan James was going to go for the header.
So what you're saying is, no, Jack, you're wrong. He wasn't put off by Dan James. He was put off by the idea of Dan James.
Yeah.
That is a deep cut.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it's this way, because if he generates any power on that, I think it's 1-0.
But what is he, 4 or 5 yards out with 3/4 of the goal to aim at?
Yeah.
It's a massive.
It's a lovely cushioned header back to a diving goalkeeper.
Yeah, but half time 0-0, and Leeds had been the better side. Southampton weren't horrendous, but they were like considerably worse than we were.
No, I mean, in terms of their chances, you've got Armstrong breaks away. Diego Llorente makes a fantastic tackle that didn't terrify any of us.
Oh yeah, I've missed it off the notes because I thought I'm in a rush. I immediately had my Leeds eyes in and went, "Oh, great tackle, brilliant, challenged it." And then
Did you then look at who it was?
No, I watched it back basically when it showed the first replay. If that gets given as a red on the field, it ain't getting overturned.
No,
he hits the player, then the ball. And I do try and not just have Leeds eyes in when I can. In real time, it doesn't happen. I thought it was a perfect tackle. And I think it was just close enough that it was fair enough he got away with it. But if it had been at the other end of the pitch, I'd have been going mental.
You have that. Armstrong has the other chance where he shoots. I think it deflects off. It's either one of our defenders or Che Adams, and then hits him again.
Yeah, I think it was a good block, the first one. Yeah, and then came back.
And then I've forgotten his name now.
The centre back, Bella Kotchap.
I was going to call him Catsup Bella, but sure, we'll go with that. He has that one where he sort of puts some power on it, but doesn't really trouble Meslier.
Yeah, well, it's plenty off target, but he's one from good interception and run forward 40 odd yards.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, well, against Leeds, centre back. The only difference is he ran through the middle of this one, and we're meant to have players there now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty solid first half. I was pretty pleased with it. Everyone was, but not as pleased as we all were with the start of the second half. One thing that I've noticed early: Leeds are good at kickoff moves.
Well, yeah, because Southampton did kick off the first half by smashing it straight out of play within the first 7 seconds. So I don't know if that spread bet is still allowed or not.
I was going to say something spread bet, something Southampton.
So yeah, it was quite nice to see not that happen.
Yeah, well, we played it forward, got into a good position, and then put a cross in, and that one's cleared. But we have done that a couple of times from kickoffs. Actually, had a nice move that's gone forward already this season, which is good to see. But this one cleared out. They go to clear it, and there's really good pressure on the ball, so he slices the clearance out to Harrison. Gets ball out of his feet. Brilliant cross. Like, perfect cross. Rodrigo gets across the near post. Proper striker's run. Good finish at the near post. Rodrigo in this game wasn't amazing, but he was like, it's so weird. I think his all around game probably was like the first half against Wolves. He was better than this, but you pop up with the goals and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come on to his contribution for the second goal, the hard work that he put in for that one. But
I will call that striker's goal. But no, it was.
I thought about calling Southampton police about that because I think Pascal Struijk had a goal stolen from him. But no, like you say, fantastic run and all game. To be honest, I thought our crossing was very effective from both Aronson and Harrison. Both set pieces and from open play. It was quite nice to see us causing something of a problem for a team from a set piece. It does beg the question why Jack Harrison wasn't taking corners for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but he did take plenty of them. They were all shite. A
lot of it was Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, though.
Yeah, but
who were also terrible.
It didn't matter who took them. Like there was a disease at Leeds United.
You know when they talk about how when it's difficult to break a team down, the best thing to do is it's almost give them possession and then win it back in those areas. Is that what we were trying to do from those corners? Hit it to the first man so we could close them down in the penalty area?
No, it's just that, I mean, it goes back longer than this, but it's just that Bielsa thinks set pieces are cheating.
This doesn't send everyone back to the halfway line.
If you whack it at the near post, they can head it out to whoever stood 40 yards out for Leeds, and then we can build and score a real goal. But yeah, 1-0. Leeds sort of stay on top, to be honest. Not loads of chances, but just looking like the better side. They get another corner. Same corner routine, just different players. Near post, swung in. Struijk with a flick on. That's such a good flick on that it lofts over Bazunu and he's going in. But Rodrigo heads in on the line.
After his birthday as well.
Yeah. As for because it was a TV camera angle and it wasn't side on, I didn't jump up straight away because my first thought was he's offside.
Thinking, God, why didn't you just leave it, Rodrigo?
Yeah, and had he been offside, I'd have been fuming because it was going in. But you watch it back, and there's a guy. They had a guy out for the short corner, and I mean, he wasn't just onside; he was onside by a yard and a half. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, close. Because I think when Struijk makes the header, I think Rodrigo moves forward about 5 yards after the header.
Yeah, he's miles on.
I think he would have been. Yeah, I think he's absolutely fine. And it a little bit. I can't say because I can't remember off the top of my head now, but the guy who's gone out for the short corner needs to pull out a bit further after that.
Yeah, as soon as it's taken, he needs to go that way. It's a bit of a basic lack of awareness of. I'm guessing that they don't. It's not something they've worked on. They've just said to him, "Oh, go out for the short one," and he hasn't thought beyond there.
It was quite interesting. It was quite interesting watching because I didn't pick up on it if it was happening during the Wolves game, having Harrison and Aronson standing over corners.
Oh, we've done that quite a lot of times. We were doing it in pre-season as well.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I hadn't picked up on yet, but it's quite an interesting tactic.
If I remember rightly, we even did it last season under Mash. It must be, not every time, but we've definitely done it a few times.
Which one of them is going to hit the front post? Will it be Phillips? Will it be Rafinha? Oh,
it appears to be front post, front post, front post, front post, and then the clipped one to the far post where someone's running around the back, which the under-21s seem to be better at in terms of actually doing that one right. I don't mind Rodrigo going in and heading it in on the line because if he's watching the ball, he doesn't know how close Bazunu is. And he also probably doesn't know that he's on the line rather than 2 yards out because he's just looking at the ball. So, if you're a striker, your instincts are you're going to go for it. 2-0 up, everyone is fucking delighted. Like, deservedly 2-0 up. Perfect start to the season. And that's when the management just wasn't good enough. I mean, I can understand the players tiring and stuff, that's fine. But that Hasenhüttl brought on Armstrong and Joe Aribo pretty much like within a minute of the second goal. So
Mm.
that's, 2 forwards. And then Leeds were still better for like 4 or 5 minutes. And that's when it started turning. The second it started turning, Hasenhüttl then made a third sub, and he brought on Saku Mara for Jan Bednarek. Stopped playing this 5-3-2, which, by the way, if Hasenhüttl keeps playing that, he's sacked by the end of August. If he keeps playing the back three. But they switched back to 4-2-2, which is what they play. They press high. They go fairly direct, but not ridiculously so. And Leeds just couldn't get out. And instead of I think the first goal is before we change formation. They play, they're getting down the left-hand side. Christensen gets done. And not for the first time. Obviously, it's been 2 games. Players need time to settle. No one's writing him off. But he's had 2 games, and he's had 2 poor games. There's no way around that.
Get me Paul Connolly on the line.
I mean, Cody Drammer must be thinking, because he was probably the best player for the under-21s yesterday. He must be thinking he's in with a shout. So yeah, they're getting down the left, ball across, and it's that Leeds thing with this formation, and it is just part of it. Everyone goes across, and Joe Aribo is completely free at the far post. And by far post, I mean penalty spot.
Yes, because everyone has just sort of shimmied across.
Yeah, everyone has got sucked in. Because once Christensen's missed, Koch has to go right across, which drags Llorente across, which drags Strug across. And because they have now gone 4-2-2, at this point, they've basically got 4 up front. So it's 4v4. Once one gets beaten, it's 4v3.
Yeah, I thought it was good play. And again, I should remember this, but I can't remember who the other Southampton player in the box is who kind of just sort of dummies going for the pass for a second.
I believe that was Che Adams that was the other player in the box.
Yeah, and I think he does a good job of just kind of making. I think it was just a step towards it, and then just creates that bit of space for the ball to go behind him, and then like I said, there's just a big gap in the middle.
Yeah, Aribo's there, and to be honest, it's a weird thing to say, but when it's your team, you'd always focus on what it was about your team. I actually think Meslier does quite well to cover the angle, and Leeds do quite well to get players back on the line. I just think Aribo finishes it well. Mellier's a little bit unlucky because he actually gets there and it just slides under his leg. Like, Meslier is literally half an inch away from managing to make the save, which would have been a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. But Aribo finishes well, and this is where the lack of changes really pissed me off. While it's still 2-0, I can understand look, we're doing okay here, I don't want to mess with it. But at this point, we are properly under the cosh. We can't really get out. We can't get anything done. And it's not like it was 2 goals in 3 minutes. There was just short of 10 minutes between the goals. There was time to see what was going wrong and go, right, we're a bit knackered in midfield here. And we just didn't do it. Because, I mean, the subs that he made, Forshaw for Rocker was 88. Click for Harrison was 84. And Sinistera for James was 84.
Yeah.
Even with everything, he still only made 4. And one of them was an enforced change in the first half. Rocker Rocker, I still stand by what I've seen from pre-season. I think he's a great player. But at the minute, he has an hour in his legs.
And to be honest, I thought given the conditions, there was a lot of pressure on Harrison and Aronson to put in a lot of yards to keep. And I thought by the 70-minute mark, they were done.
Yeah, they were both
as good as Aronson is, as well as he's done in the bleep test and that they're rough conditions to play in the second game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they are knackered. And instead of making subs, Marsh's idea was, I'm going to switch to a back 5. And he moved Strauch inside, played 3 centre-backs and played Harrison at left wing-back. And Harrison can play left wing-back. It's not his strength, but he can. He can't really play it when he's already bollocksed. And we'll just go straight to the goal. Like, we were really struggling to get out. They get the ball in the middle. Sekou Mara, who looks a good young player, to be fair, it's worth saying that is a fantastic pass.
Yeah.
Like, he's facing the wrong way. It's a reverse ball in between a centre-back and the wing-back. Perfectly weighted. Kyle Walker-Peters is in. It's a great pass. But Jack Harrison just slides 2-3 yards short of the ball for no reason.
Yeah, he seems to go like a second or two too early. Like, I think if he stands up for a second longer, I think he probably blocks it.
Or at least can get back and
forces him a bit wider.
Yeah, put some pressure on him, just like lean on him or something.
Hmm.
And that is Harrison's fault. But I'm not going to bollock Harrison for it because he was my man of the match for Leeds.
Yeah.
I know Rodrigo scored 2 goals, but I thought Harrison was outstanding in this game, except for this one bad decision that he shouldn't, for me, have been in that position to make. Like, I just thought I'll just look at the bench and see if I missed something. But no, like, Yelder and Drama are both on the bench. Like, if you are wanting to switch to a back three, I wouldn't have done that. But if you are wanting to, because they're going so attacking, move Stroud to centre back and play Yelder at left wing back.
Yeah.
I can't understand why you wouldn't do that. And it was incredibly frustrating to throw it away. Like, it's a really good finish from Walker-Peters as well. But I was very disappointed because, don't get me wrong, if you'd have offered me 4 points from these two before the season kicked off, of course I'd have taken it. It's an objectively very good start to the season.
I think I even said if you take into account Chelsea next, I'd have taken 4 points from the opening 3.
Yeah, I believe you said that on the Wolves preview.
Yeah, like that would have been especially compared to last season. It would have been a pretty decent start. You know, we're through with the first 2 weeks of the Premier League now. We're 6th, which is higher than we ever went last. You know, it's much higher than we ever went last season. Because I think outside of where we were before a ball was kicked on alphabetical order, we only went down, we dropped straight to 20th because of how bad we did on the opening day. And then I don't think we ever went above 15th, did we, after that?
No.
So
it's just a shame because you can't turn off that bit of your brain that goes, should be 6th though.
Yeah, it's the disappointment of, you know, like you say, going into it going, hey, you know what, if we get 4 points from the opening 2 games, we are in a solid position. But once you are in that position of 2-0 up and dominating a game, the only thing for me is in terms of the substitutions, when I look at, like I said, I think Harrison and Aronson probably needed to come off, and I'd have done one before the other. I'm just trying to think of who I'd be tempted to move. Do you have a bit of a reshuffle and put Dan James out in a wider position because defensively, I think he would be better suited than Sinisterra would.
Well, I think by that point, James already sort of was. It was like Aronson behind Rodrigo.
They swapped it. Yeah, they swapped them, didn't they? But yeah, I don't know if it was looking at his bench and thinking, Sinisterra is not the guy I want out there defending at the moment, or what it was, but or if you put Greenwood in a more advanced position for say Rodrigo earlier. I don't know, but
yeah, I think there was just various options. Like Rocker looked knackered on an hour. It would have been very easy to put Forshaw on 60-65 minutes for him. Harrison looking knackered. You know, I would have been fine, even though Harrison is better than him defensively. If it had just been if it had been earlier, like between goals 1 and 2, Sinisterra just coming on there would have been absolutely fine. If you want to go defensive, you have the option of bringing on Yelder or Drama and switching to a 5. But even if you didn't change anything tactically, I just think that they needed fresh legs.
Yeah.
Like, you could have literally just brought on people in the exact same positions and not changed anything, and I think we'd have won if you make a couple of subs. But in fairness to Marsh, and this is the good thing about it. But I must admit, I am a lot happier with Marsh than I was back. It's weird because he kept us up in a sense last season. I'm happier with him now than I was then. Because I can see a plan now. I can see the tactics. It is starting to work. In fairness to Marsh, he came out after the game and basically said, "Yeah, I should have made them subs early." Which
it'd have been madness if he hadn't. To be fair,
yeah, but at least he said. The problem is if he says that and then does it again, because we've had managers like that before. I mean, hell, Bielsa does that. Maybe I should have done something different, and he's never gonna.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the frame of reference for me to that was the Neil Warnock era of. It was that Middlesbrough away game, especially when 80 odd minutes, and then Middlesbrough take the lead, and everyone's going, "Put a sub on. They are taking over. Just please make us." And I think, like when the fans were chanting to bring someone on.
Yeah.
And Neil Warnock mockingly applauded them, and then they scored. Oh, don't worry, Brownie's coming on. For God's sake. Obviously, it's not at that level yet. And I think it would take a long time to get to that level of vitriol. Yeah. Christ, we hated Neil Warnock.
I don't. We should mention, because there isn't any actual news, is there?
No, not really.
Did you watch was it disappointing result? But we go on. We will preview the Chelsea game in the next pod, which will be Thursday or Friday, depending on when we're most free. Did you watch the 21s game yesterday?
I did not get to watch the 21s. I obviously saw the starting lineup and saw it was a pretty strong team.
Yeah, really strong team. Strong enough that the odds jumped from 8-13 Leeds to win to 1-3, 3-10. And Leeds played that game horrendously. They were really poor. 2-2 it finished. And Leeds never got out of second gear. It was Leeds went 1-0 up through Matteo Joseph. Nice to say after 2 games, so it's 5th of the season. It was a click in swinging cross, defensive mistake falls to him, decent finish. And this was the sort of just the way Leeds were in this game. Kick off, Norwich equalised within about 45 seconds. Just asleep all over the shop. Leeds then get back on top by getting, out first and maybe into second. And they are the better side throughout, but it's as if the game, when you, if you're playing a 7-a-side game in a league and you've got a good side and you're playing against the team that's bottom and everyone's trying to score worldies and hit shots from all over because they just know that they can win whenever they need to.
Yeah.
It was like they were doing that. They were the number of times that and there's the shot over and you look to the side and Cody Drama is clean through 20 yards of space and they just don't play the pass. Stuff like that. So it gets to half-time at 1-1. And I'm actually trying to remember what the second goal was now. I remember through ball from Somerville, who, again, he was probably the most lively, but also probably the most greedy. He was good, but he also made bad decisions. But he played a good through ball for Sonny Perkins. And Perkins, it wasn't a great finish, but just slid it under the keeper and it just snuck through. Perkins clearly is behind on fitness compared to a lot of them because he signed late. He looks a good player. He just needs time to build up. But again, they sort of threw it away. I don't know exactly. I think this one was slightly longer. Looking at it, yeah. But Drama committed a foul on the left-hand side. And it was a foul. And everyone stopped. But Norwich still had the ball. And they just carried on playing. Ref played advantage. And just no one woke up. So they got in down our side, cross in, play far post, cuts inside, kills in corner. And it was such a sloppy goal to give away. And then for the rest of the game, Leeds weren't great. They did have one disallowed. It was a good cross from Drama, and Matteo Joseph finished it at the far post. My gut reaction was that it wasn't offside, but there was no side on replay. So I have no idea if I'm right or not on that. And then in the last minute, Somerville hit the post with a hit the post with a header, and then that got cleared out, corner to the far post. Jeremiah Mullen completely free header, 5 yards out, straight at the keeper. Like they nearly scored a few at the end when I think they woke up and realised, oh shit, we're not actually winning. But as he has been dubbed by Jesse Marsh, Scoobs will be absolutely fuming with that one, because if Leeds had played at 6 out of 10, they'd have won it by 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, when I looked at the team, obviously it's a strong-looking team in as much as you got Drama, who's now got that decent right Cardiff under his belt.
Yeah,
Forshaw and Click very experienced. Somerville, who's knocking on the door. Greenwood, who has been in with the first team most of the summer, and then
Yelder to an extent as well at centre back.
Yeah, was it because I looked at the team and the way they'd set it up? Was it Keenan Carroll at fullback?
Yeah, Keenan Carroll played left back.
Okay, because
he looks talented but raw.
Yeah,
like he's got some ability, but I'm not sure he's going to make a left back.
Well, because I was just looking at it, because the way that they set it up normally for the first team, and something that annoys me now is that I don't know why it annoys me, but they seem to start the team obviously list them in roughly position order, but they've switched from right to left, which annoys me. I don't know why. It's very petty of me. But with the reserves, the under 21s, as I'm looking at the team here, it lists it as Drama, Carroll, Mullen, and Yelder, which did make me think Yelder was playing left back and Keenan Carroll had now become a centre back, which I was slightly. I can't remember Keenan Carroll. I remember his dad, and his dad was not a tall man.
If you think of his dad, that's pretty physically.
I was there thinking, like, that's a shift.
It was weird hearing it on commentary because Bryn Law commentated on it, which is strange for a 21's game. But he just said, Keenan Carroll, I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on because I play against his dad in the Vets League.
I wonder if Rue Marquez is in there as well still.
Yeah. And he...
the Nesbra Whites.
Because it was quite funny, actually, Ben Parker saying, have you not tried to get Seb to join your team? And he went, I don't get near enough to him on the pitch to ask. Which was quite funny. But yeah, missed opportunity because Leeds want to be getting promoted out of this division. From looking around all the squads and stuff, we have a 21s that should be really doing something in this league. And it was basically, we had 2-2-2 draws and both of them were ones that absolutely should have been wins.
Yeah.
So quick check of Phil Hayes' Twitter.
What has happened?
Before we go. Oh, there was quite a strong link to that Wilfred Gnonto from Zurich, who's already, 18. He's already got 4 caps for Italy. But it sounds like even though it was very strongly linked all over Europe, Phil Hay and everyone seems to be saying, nah, don't sit. So I don't think it's very likely. There isn't anything.
It is Diego Llorente's birthday.
Happy birthday, Diego Llorente.
That's what I've got.
Yeah, so we will be back on one of Thursday or Friday. I think Thursday is probably more likely. I think there's a little bit more free time that day to preview the Chelsea game. But yeah, as much as we're pissed off with that result, it's still a good start to the season.
There are much more expensively assembled teams having a much worse start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really get into it, do we? Because we try and talk about Leeds, but we should just briefly mention how hilarious Man United are right now.
That moment of just David De Gea stood at the edge of his own 6-yard box with the ball, and I could hear through the screen just, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
It's such an odd tactic, though. Why is he not the one taking the short goal kick?
A load of teams are doing this. So I'm guessing that there is some theory going around analysis, people, that if you do that, it lets you, that it's harder. There must be something, because I've seen like 10 different teams do it.
Well, it was hilarious. And then,
but do you know what stops it working? You know, when you've got a goalkeeper that can't play out from the back.
Well, that's my reason for saying that is, like, I'd rather us not do it. But if you played that pass into Meslier, I reckon he'd be able to play the ball out to the wing from there.
Yeah.
I won't say I don't think he would play it to the oncoming central player that's rushing up behind whoever our holding midfielder would be, because I'm fairly certain I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
But
no, they were hilariously bad. And they only got lucky that Brentford dropped off and decided to save their legs in the second half, because that might have been 6 or 7. And it was very, 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 very funny.
Second game of the season, Brentford have thought they've had enough. Just let's just sit back here.
Let's have a bit of mercy rule here. So yeah, and obviously it doesn't particularly affect us. We are 6th, therefore we are delighted. But it must be fun for Man City fans being top of the league while Scum are literally bottom.
Haven't scored a goal of their own yet.
Yeah, they've had one own goal, haven't they?
Yep. Get Phil Jones back in that squad.
You really do love to see it. So yeah, that'll do us for episode 168 at Mighty White's podcast. We'll be back in a couple of days. I've been Jack. See ya.
I've been Casey. Have a good one.
In a bit.